All right, what is up, you guys? We are back. Part 2 of the Building a Blog series with Gatsby JS, using React, GraphQL, all those cool things, headless CMSs, all the good stuff. So in the first one, Twitch might still have it archived, and if it does, I'll be able to grab it and put it up on the YouTube channel with the other ones. But if you did not catch the first one, because this is part 2, this is the second video. In the first one, we really just went over pretty much starting out the project, building out the project from the CLI with Gatsby. Super simple. Getting the plugins, the Gatsby source WordPress, I think is what it's called, plugin installed with some of the options we needed configured. And that's pretty much all we did. So we had like the basic, let's see if we can get it up and running. Like we just had the basic Gatsby thing going. Here, let me get my local WordPress install. That is something I did not show on camera, but that you will need to do, is get just a local WordPress install going. So we're getting all that rolling right now. Sorry, I got it up on my other screen. I'll put it on this screen for you real quick. So if I come here and click window, oh crap. Okay, so this should be, hold on, Twitch is giving me a message. Okay, we seem to be good now. Twitch hated me for a second. Okay, so here's the blog. I literally just installed WordPress, put in this lorem ipsum and this stupid title for the blog, just so we could have some data to check against. So that's that. We already have that set up. And so if we come back here and we go my terminal, so glad VS Code made that easier. So we can run npm run start. You can check the package JSON for the scripts to get those. It's just running Gatsby develop, which is pretty much just going to compile all the code and throw you your site onto the server. But yeah, like I was saying, so that first video, I will put it on YouTube as well with the setup and all that. So if you missed that, I'm also going to be writing a blog post, which I'll be posting to this blog once we're done with it. So the blog post of all these steps, so if you're not a person that wants to watch it, you can read it and go over it that way. I believe it's 8,000 before we're on. Yes, so as you can see, literally we just had the basic Gatsby started. That's all we have right now. Super simple. So if you want to get caught up, just get to this point, get everything configured. The Gatsby source plugin with all the documentation is on the website for that, and you'll be good to go. Yep, coffee at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so get my notes up from the notes, because after I learned from the first live stream, I really want some notes. Let me turn me up just a bit to say I'm a little quiet. So, okay. Hopefully that's a little better. I turned it up a little bit. People said I was kind of quiet. All right, so what we're going to do first is pretty much we want to bring in all the blog posts onto our home index page. We want just to list them really super simple, really easy, and we're going to throw some little bit of styles on there. So let's go to our page. So we have all this stuff. I'm not going to I don't know if I'm going to keep this SEO component. I guess we'll see, but for now, we're just going to pretty much kind of get rid of all that. And so we don't get errors, we're going to comment that out. We also throw an error like we're not using it or something like that. So let's add the query that we're going to need, because as you know, Gatsby uses GraphQL. So we're going to add the query, and you can right here, you can call this whatever you want. I'm just kind of calling it this so I remember what exactly this query should be doing. And I have used GraphQL before, so I'm not going to really kind of go over, GraphQL, because I feel like if you're going to get into Gatsby, you kind of need to really go over that first, just so you know, because that's the main way you'll be grabbing data. But so we're going to write this query. I will go over this query though. So it's a query, just a basic query. No, we don't have any inputs or variables or anything like that. Not for this one anyways. So this is going to be a certain name, and this is from the Gatsby WordPress source plugin, all WordPress posts, so they know what data set essentially that you're querying from. So We want to grab all WordPress posts. We grab edges, node, and the title. We need the title. We need the excerpt, and we need the slug. So that's going to be all that we need for this to pull back all the blog posts. And what's really cool is we can grab this, and we're going to head to the GraphQL endpoint to test it, which I think is like that maybe? Yes, okay. So we're going to take this out, we're going to paste it in, and this way we can actively test this in real time to make sure that the query is working, so we don't have to run it, get an error, try to figure it out. We can just run it right here. Cool. See, we see that we get a title, this blog post, this super duper cool post title. We have the title, we have the excerpt, we have the slug. Super, super cool, super simple, already setting up, grabbing data, we're rolling. So since we have the data, we're going to roll back over here. We know our query is working, so now pretty much we just need to pass this query data in as props. So we're going to use object destructuring, grab the data because GraphQL is going to pass that prop in as props.data. We'll use object destructuring, I'm sorry you guys. We use object destructuring just be able to put data so we don't have to worry about the props business. And we're going to go ahead and build out this page just a little bit. So we're going to have a div, give it a class name of post list. After this stuff does not matter, I'm just giving it a class name for now. And we're just going to pretty much build out a basic list. We're going to need key. Oh, I guess we'll have myself. I need to map through our data first before we do that. So here we go, data. We're grabbing all those posts. We're going to map through them. We have post, we have key, because we have a list. In React, if you have a list, you need to have a key. That way, it can distinguish pretty much a unique ID for each key item. When it's rendering to the DOM, it's way of identifying different elements when you're mapping through data. And as you see, I don't know, I didn't know this when I first did React, but if you're returning a value in JSX from JavaScript, you have to have return or you're not going to return the value that you're mapping over. If you just put parentheses instead of brackets, like I guess let me show you. Like you can do this as well, but then we're gonna have to type return and all of that. So if you don't want to do all that, which I don't, a little bit cleaner, just throw it in parentheses, and it's an implicit return, so you don't have to worry about writing all that, having all the extra depth and layers in your code, which is pretty nice. All right, Ben says I'm still kind of quiet, so I'm going to turn it up a little bit more. Sorry about that, you guys. Still trying to figure out, I don't think these headphones pick up the quality too well, but I'm going to get a mic and he's going to fix that, so we should be good. Just get through me with a few of these streams. Okay, so back to this. Sorry, I was on the monitor, not on screen. So we want to loop through, so now we're looping through, and we want to create an item, give it a key, and each item is going to be a link to the individual blog post. We're going to put it under post. And what this is right here is, I don't know if you know. I'm pretty sure you do know if you're watching this, but it's a template literal, and what that allows us to do is pretty much inject a variable into a string. So it's a string, it's going to be read as a string value, but we're going to inject that variable into there without doing like a bunch of concatenations and all that jazz. We can just inject it right in there, make it look super simple, and it's way easier to read. Thank you, JavaScript, for that. All right, let's build up each one of these. So the only thing that the kind of thing I didn't want to do and I don't like about this is, you'll see in just a second how we're going to actually inject this data into this h3 tag. We're going to use dangerously dangerously set inner HTML. And what that is saying is we have to put dangerous because if someone was to intercept or be able to inject HTML, intercept our API call, and intercept what HTML we're putting in here, they could do a lot of hacking stuff. They could get a lot of data back. A lot of things you don't want. So I'm hoping there's a better way to do that maybe. I haven't really found a better way. So for right now, we're going to do that since I'm just pulling it from this WordPress blog that nobody knows about. I don't think it's a big deal. I'm not really worried about it, but just kind of for the future, we might go back and change that. We might not. I'm not sure. Seems to be pretty standard from when I looked it up, but like I said, just would like to know. Would like to make sure. So we got the title. Now we're going to add the excerpt. Just putting some classes on this for when we style it. And why this is a div and not a p tag is because WordPress actually returns this excerpt data with the HTML tags attached to it. So this post node.excerpt actually has the p tags with the data that we're getting back from WordPress. So it would be p nested in a p, which we don't want. So we can just nest it directly into this div, and I'll show you that, guys, when we render it. So we're going to give that a save. Looks like it compiled successfully. Bam. Wow. Cool. So as you can see, we are already that simply compiling the data that we got from WordPress to the homepage. And now we have pretty much our blog posts. We're listing all of them. And as you can see, it's styled really ugly. It looks really ugly. And we get this like read more excerpt thing, which I know how to take that off like using PHP and putting in your functions file, but we're gonna see if we can do that with JavaScript. Kind of strip that off because that's really ugly and I don't think it adds any value. Just my opinion. So, all right, now we're gonna add just a few styles because it looks really ugly. So something really cool that we're gonna do is set up Gatsby to use SCSS. So you can use CSS and Gatsby and just import the file. I believe they're doing that in the component. So they're doing that right here with the layout CSS and the layout JS. They just simply import the CSS file. All fine and dandy. But if you want to import an SCS file, which is Sass or any of the likes with where it has nesting and all the little goodies that comes with that, you're going to have a loader that can load that data and compile it to CSS for Gatsby to then compile for the browser. So we have a little bit of configuration to do with that. We're going to add a new right here. Let me grab that npm install. So we're going to install a couple things. Let me grab these for you real quick. Okay, so we're going to install Node Sass and Gatsby plugin Sass. So what that's going to do is allow Node Sass is going to compile our SCSS or our Sass files to CSS, and Gatsby plugin Sass is going to allow Gatsby to work with Node Sass and that data. So we're going to install that. Hopefully it doesn't take forever. Hopefully I'm not going too fast for you guys and y'all are keeping up with me. I've looked through a lot of this stuff just to make sure I knew what I was doing kind of before I started, just because I didn't want to get us hung up on me looking up something or silly mistakes. Because when I was doing it the first time, I thought Gatsby would handle SCSS already out of the box. I guess that was kind of a little naive of me because you have to set it up with Next and pretty much everything else you use. So a little naive, but I figured it out, got it working. So in Gatsby, like we talked about in the first video, when you install these plugins, it's not just to install and then it works. We have to actually go in and get that configured. So we need to go into our Gatsby config file, and we actually need to put that at the end of our plugins array. That is going to allow Gatsby to know that we want this plugin to start working for us. So we're gonna put it down here. I cannot for the life of me actually remember what that plugin was called now. Gatsby plugin Sass. I'm lazy, I'm gonna copy that. So there, boom, we have it added. We can have trailing comments, not a big deal. We'll go ahead and get that saved. That should be okay. But what we are going to want to do is stop this and run a new npm run start so that Gatsby can reconfigure with this plugin added in, or else it's not going to know that we have access to this plugin yet. And I'll explain to y'all what this error is right here, just a little bit, no big deal. It's actually not even a worry for us. All right, nothing has changed yet because obviously we have not added any styles yet. Let's go ahead and add some styles. So what I'm going to do, close out some of this stuff. I always like to put my styles into a new folder. Pretty much do it however you want. Don't overthink it. And I'm just going to add, because I'm probably going to add a different style sheet for each page and a different style sheet for each component, just to keep them separate. So I'm going to do it homepage.scss. All right. And let's go ahead and add some styles. I'm going to add a comment. Homepage styles. This is just out of habit. You do not have to do this. This is just what I do for myself. Okay, so let's add those styles. That's why I said that's why I was adding those class names, is basically just so we could add the styles here now. So we'll split this to the right so we can see the classes that we added over here. So we have this post list wrapper, and so hello, let me do that. We're just gonna add some basic styles to this stuff. I do have these written down, by the way. I'm not thinking these outside my head. I guess I could just copy and paste them in. That's what I'm going to do. I don't want y'all to have to sit there and watch me. So I'm just going to copy and paste the styles I have in. So what I did was I styled the wrapper. I styled the unordered list. Styled each of the list components. It's all technically an A tag because we have it all in this link component from Gatsby. Kind of like next link, kind of like React Router's link, same concept there. So it's all an A tag. So I want to get the underline off of the text decoration, and we styled the title, and we styled the text, just very basic stuff, nothing super serious. We're going to save that. Okay, looks good. We're going to reload this page. Oh, hello. So as you see, nothing is styled, but we added the styles. What could possibly be wrong? Of course, we did not import the style sheet. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to import styles, homepage.scss, give that a save, compiled successfully. Let's come back here. Boom. Everything is styled. Looks super cool if you do say so myself. No, this is just basic styles. And as you can see, there's not really any indicator that we can click this other than the cursor. And it looks kind of like it's all just one big mess. But like I said, just for the point of this, we're just wanting to get something really quick. Essentially, we probably wouldn't put all of this in a link tag because we don't want the entire block to be clickable, mainly just like a read more button or maybe like some text that says read more or something. But for now, this kind of gets the job done. So as you can see, we are pulling in our blog post onto the homepage. This is the only blog post we have. So, hey, let's just go ahead and add another one real quick. I'll take all of this text, make it a little bit easier on me. Go ahead and log. This is just a basic WordPress install. Literally, I haven't even touched this at all. So we'll just go ahead and add a post. Add a post. Add all that. This is another blog post. So we'll just go ahead and do this. We're going to publish. And as you see, I didn't set any excerpts. I didn't set any values. I literally just posted the blog. I'm going to come back to Gatsby. We're going to have to restart it because it's not going to dynamically import or pick up that we updated anything because it's compiling everything to a static site for us. And I'm pretty sure Gatsby has like continuous integration or continuous development, whatever you call it. So that whenever you have triggers, so that whenever you update new blog or add new blog posts or things like that, it knows to update and pull the latest. I'm not too sure on that, but that's something else we're looking to. And as you can see, we're now pulling in the other blog posts. That simple. Literally, all we did was post a new blog post, run the site, and boom, we're pulling in. So super simple to get all your blog posts to display on the home page. Really easy. I just wanted to check the chat really quick, you guys. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, just wanted to check the chat really quick. Make sure we're okay with that. Okay, so we got those pulled in. So now, obviously, we have our blog posts. We want people to be able to read them. You click it. Oh, there is not yet a post at, because if you remember, this was the path that we specified that we want the blog post to go to. If you look at our link right here, that is the path we specified. Remember, we injected the slug variable right here, which is what we're seeing right here. This is our slug, and we want to put it on the post page. So obviously, to get that working, we're going to have to do a little bit more work. It wouldn't be that simple. They don't do everything for you, but that is okay. We're going to clear out some of this space, open up this sidebar. So with Gatsby, every page is going to be located here in this pages folder. As you can see, once we have 10, 25, 100 blog posts, you do not want to create a new page for every single blog post. That would be redundant. We have a lot of redundant code. The only thing that's really updating is the things specific to that post. And that is a great thing about Gatsby, that we can create templates and kind of set a template to load this, or this template will load and we'll inject all the information into it that we want for that specific template type based on the data we get. So this is what we're going to do for the individual blog post page. We're going to have a blog post template, and we're going to tell it, hey, when you fetch this data, put it into my template and show it. So that's what we're going to work on now, so that when you click each individual blog, you're getting to see all the blog data, but you're not building out a new page every single time you want to have a new page. So you may not have it. If you were in the first video, you won't have this. Gatsby didn't ship with this. I added this templates folder in already. So just go ahead in the source folder, add a templates folder. And in that templates folder, I'm going to create a new file and call it post page. Excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. Call it postpage.js. All right. And so this is going to be our blog template. This is the template we're going to have every individual blog post follow. So let's just get going. We're going to bring React in, of course, because React is our favorite. We're going to import GraphQL because that is how we're going to grab our data. I obviously can't type today. We're going to, for the sake of it, as for now, before we fix it. Oh man, keyboard's really behind. Oh no, keyboard's behind. Give it a second to catch up. All right, whoa. Here, let's move that out of the way. We're actually going to use the laptop keyboard. I think something's going on with that. So just for now, until we play with it more, we're going to go ahead and keep using layout that they give us. We haven't got to customize it yet, but that is okay. We will get to that. Okay. I had to make sure I had to look up, make sure I wasn't too close now that I'm on my laptop. And this might be a little bit louder, guys. I'm sorry about that. You know how those new MacBook Pro keyboards can be. They can be loud. All right. So we're pretty much just going to create a basic stateless function called post page. No props as of yet. Oops. We want to do an implicit return because we don't have anything really going on besides the return right now anyways. We want to add an h1 tag, and we're going to add a div that's going to hold the content. So this is going to be our basic layout for these post pages. As of right now, we're simply going to have a title and we're going to display the content. But we don't have anything to display yet. So let's come down here. Let's export it first. We do not want to get hung up on missing export. So we're going to come over here. All right, let's do this query. Like I said, we can call these queries anything. It does not have to be something specific right here. That is not going to matter. Okay, so we have a query. This time we are going to need to pass in a variable for our query because each post page is going to need that specific post that we're trying to seize content. The only way we know which post is what is based on the ID that that post has. So we're going to need to pass that ID in with the query to pull back that specific post. So I'm going to pass in this variable. We're going to tell it has to be an int and it must be provided. That is why we have the exclamation point. Okay, so like I said before, these have to be a certain name because that is how the plugin, the Gatsby source WordPress plugin, knows what you're trying to grab. We're going to tell it, we're going to give it a WordPress ID, which is what it's stored in. It equals the ID. Okay. And all we're going to want is the title and the content. Okay. So we've got our query. We've got our post template layout. I would say this would be enough, but this actually is not enough to get this working because we need to tell Gatsby how to configure these pages. Because right now, all it knows is that this post page template is going to run a query, but where are we calling this from? It has nowhere to know where to call it, where it's getting it, just from the simple link that we're building out from the homepage. And to show you what I mean, just from us linking to it, it has no idea how to build this page out. We didn't give it the ID, we didn't give it anything, so it's kind of confused on what we want to do. So, okay. So what we're going to do is go to Gatsby Node, and this is where we handle all of our external APIs, or any of our external builds, or any of our external anything that's working behind the scenes, basically, when we're trying to build the site. So we're going to close this stuff out, kind of get it out of the way. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some built-in Gatsby APIs to pretty much tell it how to build out these pages. And we're going to tell it how to create these individual post pages so it knows what we're trying to do when we give it this information. So we're going to come in here, and we're just going to start. You see, okay. First, we need path so that we can always find the path to our files. Okay. Okay. Now for the actual function that is going to dynamically create these pages. Exports dot create pages. It's going to be receiving GraphQL and actions as props. And it is grabbing these from Gatsby's build process that Gatsby Node is given. So we don't have to too much worry about that. And create page is an action in Gatsby. That is the API I told you, the built-in API that they have that we are leveraging to do this. And we're going to bring in our page template, our individual blog post template. And this is why we built this template, you guys. So now we're telling Gatsby, hey, this is where you're going to throw all this data you're getting. This is what we want you to build out. If I could type. So what we're telling Gatsby is, hey, like, this is our template. You're going to need this to put this data somewhere. So let's return a GraphQL query. Tell it what data we want it to grab. Hello. So here we're going to run the query. We're going to get all the posts. So what we're wanting to do right here is we're wanting to grab all the posts. So we have every single post and their ID. As you'll see in just a second. We need their slug because that is how that's how we're linking to them. Remember, we're linking with the slug, and we need the WordPress ID to be able to tell our post page query what which post that we have. So we need the slug. That's how we're linking them. We need the query. We need the ID to tell them which post we have. So once we get that data, we're going to store it in result, callback. So if we have any errors, we just want to go ahead. No. That's why I don't have an S. If we have an error, we need to throw the error. Right. We do not have any errors. We're going to grab the blog post. Sorry guys, can't that today. Thinking too many steps ahead. Okay. So now we have the blog post. So we have all the blog posts because we just grabbed them all from GraphQL. We have all the blog posts, and we're going to want to create a page for each individual blog post. So what we did was we grabbed all the blog posts. We just said, hey, we want their slug and we want their ID. So we grabbed all of them. Now that we have this data, what we're going to do is for each of these, we want to create a page dynamically with Gatsby. And what this is going to do is at compile time, when Gatsby is building your static site, it is going to build out all these pages for every single post and have them ready for us to use, which I think is super cool. When I first did this, I thought this was just awesome that they even thought to do this in this way. Okay, I was making sure I was okay being that close. I don't want to be too close to you guys. All right, we're going to use that create page API, and this is the cool part. Literally, we're going to pass it in a path. And this is why that link earlier was important on the homepage. This is the path that that post is at. So remember at post and then the slug. This is why we grab the slug. Post.node.slug. So this is so important because it matches. It matches earlier. If we go back to the homepage where we're going to link, we're telling it that's where we want this. That's the page we're trying to take the user to. So what we're telling Gatsby here is when you create this page, this is where we want this page to live, because that's, of course, for URL and for the way things look, that's where we want it to look. We're going to tell it which component we want you to load for this page. That's why we brought in our post page template. Earlier, like we had earlier, we built the template. Now we're going to load that in like, hey, use this template to build out this page. And context, here we're going to pass in some query parameters so that we can use that on the page. ID, post. And here we are supplying that page with its post ID. So we're telling it, here's the path we want you to put the page at. Here's the component that we want you to build the page to look like, and pass in these things as props, as data for us to be able to use on that page. And that is going to be it. That is literally all we have to add to get Gatsby to dynamically create a page for every single blog post that we have. Super cool. Super, super cool. So we're going to go back now to our individual post page, and we're going to finish this out. I just wanted to make sure we did that first and kind of understood where the data was coming from, where kind of how we were linking everything together. So that is how it is able to grab this ID that we're giving this GraphQL query, is because we pass it in through the context. So it has the ID. That's kind of where this was coming from. That's kind of why I wanted to go do that after we had already set this up, so you knew that we had access to this ID to be able to know which post that we're loading at this time on the square page. Well, when it's, I'm sorry, not for us to know, for Gatsby to know, when they go to the page is, hey, we want to build post with ID 7. Okay, here's post ID 7. Where's the data? Here's the data for it, essentially. Because once Gatsby is building that page, remember, all it has is the slug and the ID. So we're giving it the ID. Hey, we see another query to run, and it's passing that ID, and that's where it's getting the title and the content to build out this page. We're not actually having to supply it in this file, because all we need for this to run is the slug to give it the path that we want to store it at and the ID, so that when it goes to build this into this component, it can run this query down here and supply the data. I hope that makes sense. It kind of took me a second to wrap my head around it too. If you kind of break it down and think about what's going on, I think it makes a lot more sense, but it definitely took me a second or two to kind of figure out kind of how it was working. but once I did, I thought it was really cool. So we're going to use object structuring once again. Grab the props. We are going to simply inject the title because WordPress handles the title differently than content. We do not have to set the inner HTML. We can simply just throw it in. This is not the right name for that because remember this needs to match the query down here because that's where the data is living. So since the title is rendered, WordPress will give you a rendered title. We can just grab it just like that. We do not have to dangerously set it. There we go. And then we still have data. All right. So we're going to give that a save. I do not know if we need to restart. I believe we do because we messed with Gatsby Node. So we're going to clear this out. We're going to rerun npm run start. Load up everything here. Gatsby. All right. There we go. Okay. We actually wanted to go back to our home page. So we're back at our home page. We're going to click this blog. Oh no. We were not able to find. Let me see. Sorry, I've got my inspect up here. Let me bring it down here. Oh, still up there. So go back to the home page. Look for blog. Hold on, you guys. I'm just looking to see if I missed something. Did we miss something? I don't think I did. I think we added everything that we needed. I don't think we needed this. Okay, let me see if that was the culprit. Let's get off of it and see if this helps. Let's let all these run. All right, compile successfully. We're gonna go to fresh and new. Okay. Oh, no. What have we done? So it's not even finding the page, so it's not finding. It's not building out these pages because it's not fine. We don't need this, that's correct. It's not being able to build out the pages. If y'all see something I don't see, please let me know because I'm not too sure. Hmm. I'm not sure what it is missing here. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Um, hmm. Hmm. I feel like it's something really simple that I'm not seeing, that I'm just missing. And I just don't know that I'm missing it. Okay, let's go through some. Okay, let's figure some stuff out here. Let's see what we're getting first. I'm gonna do this. Data. As you can see, this is where how the data is stored. And this is what this is a great point. This is what I was talking about earlier, where the excerpt, oh gosh, the excerpt is returned with the HTML values. As you can see, it has the p tag in there, so that is why we didn't need it. So the data is going through just fine. But if we try this post, this is another blog post, that is the right slug that we want. There's not yet a page yet. Oh, this is interesting. It's picking up a page for post node slug. Oh wow. You know, I think I'm almost certain I know what we did now. Yep. Wow, were you guys really not going to tell me that I did not use the little, I actually have no idea what these are called, for the post template literals instead of quotes. It took it as a string instead of a post template literal. Wow. Okay, well, now you see the kind of syntax errors that I make on a daily basis. That is embarrassing. This will work this time, I know it. Wow, that is really funny. I cannot believe I just made that mistake. Oh man. Oh man. It's different kind of when you make a mistake and everybody's watching versus when you make a mistake and it's just you and you just kind of like, oh, other people do that. All right, so we should be able to go back. Let's just go back home. Boom. Oh, sweet. Sweet. That is awesome. So now, since we figured out a very, very bad mistake, we have our blog page. We're rendering our blogs to the home page. You can click the you can click the blog, be taken to the individual blog post, and go back home. And it all looks super good. It looks super sexy. So that is all we wanted to accomplish in today's video. Next time, I'm not too sure what we're going to do. I know for a fact we're going to clean up a lot of these built-in Gatsby components that they shipped with, like the layout and the SEO. We're going to kind of change them, make them our own, so we can kind of do some different cool stuff with them. Probably had a way to have like a categories page and a tags page, so then we can build some custom querying and searching mechanisms with the blog. That stuff is all what I have planned. So if you have any other ideas, let me know. This was the second video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what y'all expect to have coming soon. And yeah, I still haven't figured out how to really outro these videos, so we're just gonna kind of end it here. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. See you next time.